Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask John Hood and Peg O'Connell, one issue that's been raised recently is the idea of selling state-owned buildings in downtown Raleigh and moving to areas where the state could lease property at much lower rates. What do you think of that concept, John?
Well, I generally favor it because I want to save money for taxpayers and deliver services in the most efficient way. Of course, there is some countervailing concerns that have to do with people who need to work together, offices who may need to be in proximity because there's some advantage to being close together. We see this in the public or private sector. There are clumps, there are certain nodes where certain industries need to cohere, even though they don't work together a lot. All the time, it might be a lot. But I think in general, there's no reason why government agencies need to be downtowns. If downtowns are rising in property value, that suggests that people want to use those spaces for other things. I say let people who want to pay for those spaces for whatever uses they desire, whether it's condos or restaurants or office buildings, do that. Have the public sector move its offices into lower cost areas. Again, as long as it doesn't affect the services.
Other states have tried this, have they not?
Well, you know, North Carolina does. I mean, not all state and local agencies are all in the downtowns. For decades, we've already been doing this because it's just the natural flow of the marketplace. So I think it's fine in general. It's just there may be cases where it is not cost effective.
Peg, what do you think of this idea?
Well, you know, Tom, I kind of agree with John, which I know all my friends will be falling off their chairs
here.
But at first I thought, is this like eating your seed corn? You know, you're selling your assets and hoping somebody will buy them so you can go do something cheaper. But, you know, listening to the conversation today about, you know, rural North Carolina and the need for jobs, you know, my friends at the Public Health Department have been out on Six Forks Road for years, and, you know, with the large exception of the fact that their colleagues from the bigger HHS are on the other side of town at Dorothea Dix, you know, it generally works okay. I think one of the things that could happen is if you want to go this route, and there might be, like the Dobbs building, I think that's a place we could sell and say, put a period at the end of that sentence.
Which is in terrible shape.
It is, and it was in terrible shape when Jim was commissioner.
Yeah. Archdale's in bad shape.
Yeah.
They've just refurbished Albemarle.
Albemarle is fabulous, but that's another issue. But, you know, so if you're going to move people, why don't you move them to Farmville? Or why don't you move them to Wilson? I mean, you'd have a shift in but for years, state government and the facilities that it built, prisons, liquor warehouses, were all economic engines. So if you can move people out and you have good access to broadband and good telephones, why don't you, you know, think about moving some of those things out?
Now you've gotten to a point where, as they used to say in church, you've stopped preaching and started meddling.
Yeah. But if we're going to sell all our stuff, you might as well do some good for people at the same time.
Put the people where you want to have them.
That's right. And I'm sure we'd welcome them in Farmville.
Does the Pitt County Chamber of Commerce pay you, by the way?
No, it's just the Farmville Chamber of Commerce.
Well, thanks for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.